Everything you were taught about light and electrons is wrong. They are not waves. They are not particles. And once you understand why, your idea of reality will never be the same. Humans understand nature through intuition, but intuition is not always correct. Human beings naturally try to understand the world through intuition. From the moment we are born, our brains learn by observing daily life. We touch objects, we see things fall, we push, pull, throw, and catch. From these experiences, we build a mental model of reality. We learn to believe objects are solid things. Waves move smoothly through space. Causes always come before effects. Something must either be this or that, never both. This intuitive understanding works extremely well in everyday life. It helps us walk, drive, build houses, and survive. But here is the problem. Nature does not care about human intuition. The trap of everyday experience. Our intuition is trained only by the world we directly experience, a world of medium-sized objects moving at slow speeds. We never experience objects smaller than atoms, speeds close to the speed of light, energies inside the nucleus, distances near absolute zero. So our intuition is built from a tiny slice of reality. Richard Feynman explained this perfectly when he said, "Our everyday experience is a very small part of the real nature. Yet we often make a dangerous assumption. If something feels strange or illogical to us, we assume it must be wrong. In physics, this assumption fails completely. When intuition breaks down. At the atomic level, nature behaves in ways that directly contradict common sense. For example, light behaves like a wave and a particle. Electrons can exist in many places at once. Particles pass through solid barriers. Measuring a system changes its behavior. None of this feels intuitive. In fact, it feels impossible. But experiments repeatedly show that it is true. Nature is not obligated to match how humans think. Why intuition fails? Intuition evolved for survival, not for understanding reality. Our brains evolved to avoid danger, find food, recognize faces, predict simple motion. They did not evolve to understand quantum fields or space-time curvature. So when we try to use common sense to explain the universe, we encounter limits. Feynman warned about this. You are not allowed to understand quantum mechanics in the way you want to. Not because it is mysterious, but because the universe simply does not work the way our minds expect. The lesson of physics. Physics teaches a humbling lesson. Reality is not built to be comfortable for humans. It is built to be consistent with experiment. When scientists discovered quantum mechanics, they did not believe it because it felt right. They believed it because the equations worked, the predictions were correct, the experiments agreed perfectly, even when the results felt absurd. Feynman once said, "It doesn't matter how beautiful your theory is. If it disagrees with experiment, it is wrong." Truth in science is not emotional. It is experimental. A new way of thinking. Understanding nature requires something difficult. We must let go of intuition. Not abandon it completely, but recognize its limits. Instead of asking, "Does this make sense to me?" science asks, "Does this match reality?" This shift in thinking is uncomfortable, but it is also powerful. Because once we accept that nature is stranger than imagination, we become free to discover how it truly works. Human beings naturally try to understand the world through intuition. From the moment we are born, our brains learn by observing daily life. We touch objects, see them fall, feel resistance when we push something, and notice patterns like cause and effect. Over time, these experiences form a mental model of the world, a set of rules that seem obvious to us. Example: if the sun rises, it must be moving around the earth, right? Your eyes say so. These rules work well in everyday life. They predict outcomes accurately when you interact with the world at human scale. They're why you can catch a ball, pour water without spilling, or ride a bike. Our intuition is a powerful survival tool. But intuition has limits. The universe is far larger, far smaller, and far stranger than what our senses experience directly. Nature does not care about human assumptions. What feels obvious is often misleading. For instance, gravity on small scales. A speck of dust in air does not fall like a ball. It floats, collides randomly with air molecules, and behaves unpredictably. High speeds. If a car could go near the speed of light, your intuition about time and motion would fail completely. Time would slow down. Lengths would contract. Nothing you learned in school about normal motion applies. Microscopic world. Electrons do not travel in straight lines like tiny balls. They spread like waves, appear in unpredictable spots, and interfere with themselves in ways our intuition cannot imagine. In short, intuition is rooted in experience at a limited scale. It is an excellent guide for daily life, but a poor guide for the deep or extreme loss of nature. To truly understand the universe, we need careful observation, experimentation, and mathematics, tools that extend beyond what our senses can grasp. Even the greatest scientists like Newton and Einstein had to fight against their own intuition. They had to think in ways that felt unnatural, imagine scenarios their eyes could not see, and accept results that contradicted common sense. The lesson is clear. Human intuition is a starting point, a map drawn from daily life. But the deeper we explore the universe, the more we realize our intuition can be incomplete or even entirely wrong. Science is the bridge between what we think we know and what nature truly is. Conclusion: humans understand the world through intuition, but intuition is shaped by a narrow experience of reality. At the deepest levels of nature, that intuition fails. Atoms do not behave like tiny balls. Light is not simply a wave. Reality is not required to make sense to the human brain. As Richard Feynman reminded us, nature's imagination is far greater than man's. True understanding begins not when things feel logical, but when we accept that the universe does not think like we do. And that realization is the first step toward real science. If you drop a ball, it falls. Your intuition tells you that heavier balls fall faster.